This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
I'm Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched Super Mario Bros. Two Brooklyn plumbers, Mario and Luigi, must travel to another dimension to rescue a princess from the evil dictator King Koopa and stop him from taking over the world. Let's watch!
Hey!
Woohoo!
Wahoo!
Woohoo!
It's a me!
Oh no!
Mario!
It's a me!
Okie dokie!
Mario! Okie dokie!
Hey, okay!
We can to me, Luigi. He's kind of gruffer, right? And then there's Toad. Wah! Wah! It's me, Brooke!
Oh my god!
Hey, Abby.
Hi.
Hey, wow, oh my
Hey.
god. Sometimes we get emails, as you know, and sometimes those emails are legendary. And I think I've gotten the best email that I've ever gotten in my life.
Ooh, I'm excited.
It is from, she's emailed through before, Vyra.
Okay.
She'd helped to find the IMDb user that someone else was referring to, I think, at the Twilight episodes or something. Yeah. She emailed through an email titled Italian Censorship Visa number 97930. Oh, sorry. Delivered on 27 April 2004. Dear Michelle and Abigail, I just listened to episode 136, Talk. Like the both of you, I too found no interest whatsoever in the trivia item Italian Censorship Visa number 97930 delivered on 27 April 2004. And like the both of you, I also had many unanswered questions I didn't think I could bother finding answers to. But something inside of me had to know. Something in my bones. And then what follows is under a couple of subtitles. First, the trivia item. IMDb doesn't list the user who added an item of trivia, and a Google search makes this even less clear. Over 3,000 other films listed on IMDb have an Italian censorship trivia item, all formatted the exact same way. Italia censorship visa number blank delivered on blank. This feels like way too many to be just one person, but it also feels like way too few to be a bot. Of the over 130,000 films with easily available Italian censorship visa information, why would a bot post only 3,000? Expanding our search to include the censorship visas of other countries, we find even more IMDb trivia items, all with identical formatting as the Italian listings. Take, for example, the 1949 film In the Name of the Law, itself an Italian film. Its IMDb page lists the censorship visas for Italy, Finland, France, and Sweden, all as separate trivia listings, and all with 0 out of 1 found this interesting. What's an Italian censorship visa? The next subheading.
Okay.
I want to quickly stress that I truly do not give a shit about any of this. My apparent need to find answers to these questions is a curse upon my very soul. The Italian state was censoring stuff basically since its unification, before cinema was even a thing. In 1913, the Italian government passed a law specifically targeting cinema that gave a single office the power to nationally censor all films, both Italian and imported. Then Mussolini invented fascism, and their cinema censorship got even worse.
Mussolini invented fascism?
Technically, he did. He was a fascist. Like, the Nazis were technically a slightly different but related thing.
Was there no fascism prior?
The term and specificity of fascism, like, I'm pretty sure Mussolini was the first, fascist party.
Yeah, is that when the term was first coined?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then they lost World War II, abolished their monarchy, became a republic, and forgot to revert any of their fascist-era cinema censorship laws in any meaningful way. Then the Catholics made censorship even worse for some reason. I think it got a little better in the 60s. Under Italian censorship laws, all films are banned by default and need to be given clearance by the administration.
What the fuck? So they get a license to be cleared?
Yeah.
Right.
So everything is banned, and then they say whether it's actually okay.
That's so weird. So would you have to go through the process of making an entire film and then hope it doesn't get banned?
Basically, yeah.
What the fuck? So, like, you make a film, and as soon as it is conceived, it is finished, it's banned, and then has to be unbanned to be released.
Yeah.
That's horrible. What if your film just never gets to be released because it's banned?
At least you could release it somewhere that isn't Italy.
Ah.
This certificate of clearance is the censorship visa. Oh my God. really, really honoring the
Coffee
listenership.
burps taste sweeter than other burps.
What? Importantly, in addition to a total ban, a 1962 law allowed for a film to be banned for those under the age of 18, 16, or 14, allowing the law to act as a simple but far more legally enforced film classification system. Like how we have like M and PG and R and stuff. Next subtitle, Torque, Circuiti di Fuoco, which I think is the Italian title.
What do you know what that translates to?
I think it would be like Circuits of Fire. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
For the Italian dubbed version of Torque, released as Torque, Circuits of Fire. The character of Trey was voiced by Italian rating descending all-star Robert Draghetti, who voiced Big Jack Lattimore in the Italian dub of Norbert, Moreau in the Italian dub of Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, and Jonah Hex in Jonah Hex.
Stop!
And, funnily enough, Amos in A Good Year.
Oh, fuck off!
I have to
Vira is like more dedicated to this than we are. Like Vira has done the research.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
has put in the hours.
We're crowdsourcing the research that we frequently don't have the time or energy for.
Honorary host of Rating Descending, Vira.
Oh, and she said, and I don't know, probably others. I have to stop researching this, guys. I don't care about any of this. I need help. And I relate to impulsively needing to find an answer that really doesn't matter in the long term.
Oh, I love that. I love like these niche obsessions and rabbit holes we all fall down through.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Mad respect.
As the trivia states, Torque Circuits of Fire was awarded its censorship visa on April 27, 2004, but the decision was disappointing to Warner Bros. Italy. While the film, like most modern films, had been approved for release due to the perceived risk of people trying to copy the stunts as well as the violence, drugs, and portrayal of police corruption, the Film Review Commission had voted unanimously to enforce a legal ban on the film for anyone under the age of 18. As a consequence, it would also be illegal for any television channel to broadcast the film in any time slot.
God.
This gave Warner Bros. Italy only one opportunity to submit either an appeal or a cut-down version of the film, and only 20 days to do so. Instead of cutting anything, Warner Bros. Appealed, arguing that because the film was so obviously fantastic and deliberately exaggerated, viewers of all ages would understand that the stunts portrayed weren't feasibly replicable. Their appeal mostly worked, and on June 16, 2004, a new censorship visa was delivered that allowed the screening for people under 18. However, because the film portrays an unhealthy environment filled with morally unscrupulous characters, and because the film, and this is in quotes, exalts the myth of speed, whatever the fuck that means, the film was still banned for those under the ages of 14 and could only be broadcast on TV between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. In 2006, Warner Bros. Cut 6 minutes from the DVD version of the film in anticipation of the censorship process. This version was granted a full censorship visa with no age restrictions. It is unclear what omissions were made, and I was unable to find the 78-minute cut. Fair. On April 5th, 2021, 5 days after the release of Rating Descending Episode 215, Striptease, film censorship in Italy was abolished, ending over 100 years of Italian cinema censorship. Congratulations, Michelle and Abigail. You did it. Much love, Vira, longtime enemy of the podcast. And then she ends it with a quote, I struggle to bring a level of detail to important things in my life. The idea that someone could pour so much attention and detail and time into something like that kind of makes me feel bad about myself.
Vira, I love you. I love that. That was sensational.
Incredible.
Love your vibe, bitch.
Love the vibes.
Love that you also waste your time on inane, stupid shit like us. Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club, indeed. Probably ended up spending a similar amount of time that it takes us to watch and research these movies as a whole.
100%. I don't know about you, but when I watch the film, I'm also like just researching it as I go, because I want to be able to, I don't know, it kills two birds with one stone. I can still pay attention to the movie while looking it up. It keeps me in the mindset of it.
The only exceptions is when we have to do like bland post-2010s horrors. And then if I look away from the screen for an instant,
you're gone.
I'm never coming back.
Once you detach, there's no coming back.
There's no coming back. There's nothing to entice me on screen.
It's so true. And then you have to like rewind because you're like, I actually did zone out for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No, that was fantastic. That was sensational.
Incredible. I
learnt so much. And it's also fantastic that they abolished these ridiculous censorship laws.
Yeah.
Like
we did it.
Hollywood introduced coding in the 20s?
The Hays Code?
Yeah. And also the fact that we had like a ban in Australia on like things like bushranger films for like 30 years. We had this ridiculous ban where they're like, it's encouraging violence and we're glorifying our criminal history. And then in the 70s, people were like, fuck yeah, criminal history, bring it back. That was great.
That was incredible. And hey.
Well, that was Rating Descending.
Yeah, that's it. We've peaked. It's all downhill from here, baby. But you know what? Speaking of going all downhill from here, this week we watched Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
I have been. Yeah. This is one of the movies that I've been looking forward to since we began. I knew it had to be on the list, and it is, and I'm so happy.
I have a confession to make to the audience. Michelle, you already know this.
Oh, okay.
But I've watched Super Mario Brothers before because of you.
Yeah.
And I've also watched.
Of course.
I've also watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit because of you. Now, listeners, a week ago when Michelle was just reminding me of the movies coming up, and I said, so what we've got on next week, and Michelle said Super Mario Brothers, I went, got it. Bob Hoskins film based on like a video game or cartoon made in the 90s. Great, got it. And so I watched all of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and thought, it's such a good movie. It shouldn't be on this list. And I even said it. Claude was like watching over my shoulder and he was like, it actually looks really good. And I was like, yeah, what? I don't understand why it would be on this list at all. And then when Michelle and I met up to record this episode a few days ago, my heart sunk when she brought up the name Super Mario Brothers because I realized I had spent the morning watching the wrong film.
From my perspective, we were doing a double record, recording 2 episodes in a row. I had offhandedly mentioned I was keen for Super Mario Brothers after the first one. We did the whole first recording, and then Abby goes, I have something to confess. Tells me exactly what she just told you. And honestly, my number one response, cannot believe that you kept your cool all through the first recording. Would never have known that in the back of your mind you were like, fully didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, I just didn't want to bum you out during that recording. So I was like, I'll save it until we've got to do this next one.
Made it way funnier.
Yeah.
I was not bummed out at all. It was way too funny to upset me.
And I even went to the bathroom and I was like, maybe I could look up the plot of Super Mario Brothers because I've seen it before. And maybe I'll still tell Michelle, but we could get away with recording it anyway because I have seen it. And then when I saw photos of Dennis Hopper as the villain and Toad as well, I was like, I don't remember this film at all. I actually forgot that there was an underground or secret world full of like lizard people. So I need to go back and rewatch this. Coming clean felt good. It was good for my soul.
Hell, I even rewatched it this morning, making it the second time in the last fortnight I've watched it, just because you're right. You really got to have it in your brain because there's a lot of elements to it.
There's a lot going on. We probably watched it for Bad Movie Night ages ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've already seen this movie like 5 times. This was one of the like proto bad movie nights that I would just show to people.
It was. You had you've got like a real thing for Bob Hoskins in 90s cartoon or video game adaptations.
I like 2 movies with Bob Hoskins.
That's a lot of Hey, what about Hook?
I hadn't seen Hook until you showed it to me.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't really grow up with Hook.
That's a sad upbringing.
I'm sorry, man.
Tough childhood.
I think it was, but not not for that reason.
Not because of the absence of Hook.
No, because of the absence of Hook. I think that was actually the last thing on my mind.
Let's not go into that, Jordan.
Yeah, let's not do that. But hey, also, did you ever play Mario as a kid much?
Well, this is what I was going to say. No. When No, I did not. The only time I played Mario as a kid is that my brother had a Game Boy Color. It was purple. Mm-hmm. And we had a Super Mario game on it, and that was my favorite one.
Nice. Do you remember which one? Was it Super Mario Land?
I just remember he jumped a lot.
Yeah, well, that narrows it down. Yeah, you fucking nailed it.
And there were
one
mushrooms.
Mario game.
There were mushrooms that you could jump on.
God, you're so good at this. You fucking idiot. I can't believe every single week.
Sometimes there's a level that you can jump up through a bit higher. Oh, and you can grow in size. You can be big Mario and small Mario. Is this doing anything for you?
If I die, I got to write on my tombstone, it's your fault.
No, I don't remember what it was at all. But I remember I really liked it, but I was really bad at it. And I remember even the first level fucked me up. I remember maybe at one point I got a bit better and I probably got 5 levels in. And for me, that was great. I just wasn't very good at it. I did also have a Donkey Kong game. But anyway, that one Game Boy game is my only exposure to playing Mario in my life. I don't have a lot of Mario experience, which means I don't fully understand the world of Mario and all the references. And this is what I particularly wanted to ask you, Michelle. Yeah. I really want to understand if this film is faithful to the characters of Mario or to the world of Mario, or if all the lizard shit in particular is just totally made up for the film.
So I can answer, but I know
Yoshi's a thing.
And
Daisy's a thing.
I want to first ask you, What do you fucking think? You think this is what Mario is like?
I just don't know.
Search your heart. You know what's true. You know the answer to this question. No, this is not an accurate portrayal of the Super Mario Brothers Mushroom Kingdom.
This film opens with a woman that like drops an egg off to a like a Catholic church, and all these nuns watch it hatch into a baby.
From
okay, so
Super Mario Bros. 3
that hatches a human baby.
No, Super Mario Sunshine doesn't begin with dropping an egg off at a Catholic church. The fact that they're from Brooklyn, that's not part of it.
I think, Michelle, I want to open up this episode.
He's not from Italy.
What?
He's technically not a human. Nintendo one time published, a lot of the time they're doing things as a bit. He is technically not a Homo sapien. He is Homonintendus, which I think is a great bit.
What? Okay,
He's from the Mushroom Kingdom.
Wait, Michelle, let's backtrack.
Sure.
I've told you I basically know nothing.
Yeah.
Start at the beginning.
Of Mario?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to get one thing clear before, and then I will genuinely answer.
Yeah.
The secret to Mario, and this is what I think is fucking genius, right? Things like Marvel, Star Wars, obsessed with overall continuity and consistent world building, right? And that has its place. The fucking secret that Nintendo tapped into is that you can just do whatever the fuck you want, and it doesn't have to mean anything. Mario doesn't make one lick of sense.
Yeah.
It's absolute fucking bastard gibberish that they rewrite every time they want to. Every time their heart sings that it should be something different, it is. Right? However...
Sounds like they're just following whims and impulses, and I love that.
Yeah.
That's how I live.
Shigeru Miyamoto listened to Joseph Campbell and did nothing but followed his bliss.
Who's he? Like, how did he create?
He's the creator of Mario.
Okay.
And has more than anything he's remained the main creative voice and shepherding of the franchise, even as he stepped back from directing games actively.
When did he create Mario? When? What year?
The early 90s, 82 maybe? I mean, with the first Super Mario Bros. Game.
And when was that?
That was, oh God, I can look it up now.
I really know nothing. And as much as I wanted to research it, I was like, wait, Michelle will know. Why didn't I just ask Michelle?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because, Super Mario Brothers started with... Technically, it didn't start with Donkey Kong, but that is obviously the genesis of Mario, right? Because in the
Donkey
original...
Kong is the genesis of Mario?
Yes.
I know that they're related.
In the original Donkey Kong arcade game, which then later got ported to Game Boy, I also had that Game Boy cartridge. It's Donkey Kong, and at the bottom, you play as Jumpman. Technically not Mario, but he is dressed like Mario... and has, he's jumping, a real staple of Mario, and you rescue a princess that is technically not Princess Peach, it is Princess Paulina, if I'm remembering correctly.
Paulina.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you get Donkey Kong, and that was an arcade game. And then they made Super Mario Bros. On the NES in it was a successor to the Mario Bros. Arcade game, which was in 83, not 82.
Oh, you were so off.
I was so close, though. And yeah, it was released on the NES in 1985.
Right.
Right? A big thing, so then there was Mario Bros.
What's NES?
The Nintendo Entertainment System.
That was the
first one.
What did it look like?
It depends on whether you're in Japan or everywhere else.
Oh, you know I'm in Japan. Heart, mind, and soul.
Then it was this red and white little thing, and it was called the Famicom. The family
Famicom?
Famicom. Like the family computer. Nintendo loved contractions, like Pokemon is Pocket Monsters.
Is it?
Yeah.
Dude, we talked about this on the podcast before. I don't know anything about Pokemon either. Too busy getting chicks and getting laid, bitch. Give me some skin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, instead of doing that,
take that out.
I was learning this.
Well, I was learning the ins and outs of a vagina. You were playing video games, bitch.
Oh, I was learning the ins and outs through rigorous research. Oh, that sounds like a euphemism, but it's not.
We're still talking about vaginas.
Yeah, I'm just Googling, looking up how it works and stuff.
Yeah, look, this is something separate. This is a tangent.
Yeah, sure.
As per.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've met some dudes where they're like, they know the actual technical terms for part of the vaginas when you're just like, oh yeah, the top of my vagina hurts. And they're like, the pubical cleftus or something. And you're like, dude, I don't know what it's called. I just have it. Like, clearly you've looked at diagrams of like a female body, but we don't look at it. We don't care.
You could, though. You could know how.
I find it so odd. I'm like, we just call it the top.
We'll come back to this. We'll come back to this. We're talking about Mario.
I don't want the technical term.
I think you're referring to the clitoral hood. on top of your clitoris rather than the labia?
Oh, the clitoral hood. Oh, the pubic mound.
We're talking about Mario.
Don't turn me off my own vagina.
I understand how Mario gets us to pussy, but
Oh, the pipeline, the Mario to pussy pipeline is only so long.
look, to briefly go through the Mario universe and then we can start talking about this movie. Typically, Mario, a plumber who lives in the Mushroom Kingdom. The Mushroom Kingdom is the one ruled by Princess Peach.
Not Princess Daisy?
No.
What?
Daisy, I think, is maybe a princess or whatever, but she was introduced later.
She's a princess, right? She's a real princess in the games. There is a Princess Daisy.
I think she's a princess.
Doesn't she have,
I
like,
don't
a
know where
dress
she's princess of. Oh, she's the princess of Sarasa Land. She was introduced in Super Mario Land, as opposed to Waluigi, who was introduced in Super Mario Tennis 64 as a doubles partner for Wario.
Yeah, and that's another question I have.
Sure.
I know the memes around Wario and Waluigi, but
Yeah.
like what?
Okay, so
They're just the evil versions
there's-
of Mario and Luigi?
there's Mario, and then there's
Luigi Mario?
Luigi Mario.
And is that from
his
the
brother.
game or is that just in the movie? Because they say it in the movie. Is it in the game? Are they called Mario and
It
Luigi
wasn't in the game
Mario?
for a long time. This was the first thing that did that bit, but it's now a real bit.
No way!
Yeah. And then,
So this film was good for something.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
All right.
And then Wario is a guy who is kind of like Mario, but he's meant to be an anti-Mario. He's greedy and stuff. He's occasionally an anti-hero. I think it's because like Wa is like evil in Japanese or something. That's why he's Wario. And then Waluigi,
Oh, okay.
the relationship between... So Mario and Luigi are brothers.
Yeah.
The relationship between Wario and Waluigi is never explained. It seems like Wario doesn't even particularly like Waluigi.
So they're not
Waluigi
evil
is just
brothers.
also there and is the evil counterpart to Luigi.
What? That's stupid. That's dumb.
It is dumb. The whole thing is dumb.
That's so stupid.
Mario and
okay.
Luigi is nothing. And then, yeah, Bowser repeatedly kidnaps Princess Peach.
Okay.
And then Mario usually goes to rescue her.
So Mario has more of a connection with, I guess, like Princess Daisy is Luigi's love interest in this film anyway.
Yes.
But Princess Peach is the love interest of Mario.
To this movie's credit, it's fascinating because they go, well, we want Luigi to have the love interest, and so they pick Daisy instead of Peach to be the princess. That's good. That's
Yeah.
You know the game.
Yeah.
And then but Mario has just a casual girlfriend whose name is Daniela,
yeah.
not a character.
She's just a woman from New
She's
York.
just a woman, and not even Paulina or anything. Like she's just a woman.
Yeah. But if she was a character from the game, I feel like she would need to be sucked into, that's not true.
The thing is, the movie is clearly taking a lot of inspiration from the Super Mario show, which was
When did that come out?
before this in like the early 90s, late 80s. And
Yeah.
that was a TV cartoon because, of course, Mario wasn't voiced until Mario 64, which came out after the movie. I think in like 96
What year was this?
or 7.
Was this
This is
93?
93.
Okay.
Yeah. Until that point, there was no canon voice of Mario except in the Super Mario show where he's voiced by, I cannot remember his name in this moment, but he is giving him a gruff Brooklyn voice. He's like,
Oh, really?
hey, Mario, come
Really?
on,
He's
we're
not-
doing the show.
So hey, it's me, Mario. Where did that come
So
from?
Charles Martinet was the voice for Mario in Super Mario 64, and
what
that's
year would
where
that have been? 96, did you say?
I think 96 or 97. I can look it up right now. But that is where the hey, it's a me, Mario was introduced.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. And Charles Martinet
Okay.
has remained the voice actor of Mario ever since until
Hey.
the soon to be released 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie, where instead it's Chris Pratt.
Right. Okay. Also, I have a question.
1996 is Super Mario 64.
My memory of playing Mario, in the games that I played on like the Game Boy, I feel like it was just Mario jumping on a bunch of mushrooms, and that's all I remember. As for the antagonists he encounters, like in this film, they talk about Koopas.
Yeah.
And I just want to know how many creatures from this film are actually in the game, because I don't really, in the way that like I understand that Pac-Man eats or is attacked by ghosts, I don't understand what Mario is attacked by, or like what his enemies are in the game.
All of the names of things come from the game.
Yeah.
Right? Except almost none of them look anything like what they're supposed to.
Is the villain in the game actually just Dennis Hopper?
The villain in the game
Just little
is
Dennis
just Dennis
Hoppers
Hopper.
that are like following him around.
Well, they made a weird decision in that his name isn't Bowser in the movie, it's King Koopa.
Yeah, okay, so
And you know what Bowser
okay,
looks like, right?
green.
Looks like that. Big turtle guy.
He wasn't green.
Yeah.
So wait, Dennis Hopper's character is meant to be Bowser?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Why is he called Cooper in the movie?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. This is what a Koopa looks like. It's a turtle guy, not a dinosaur, a turtle guy.
So how do you know that that's not meant to be Koopa's character, King Koopa?
You could argue that. It's just a weird decision.
How do you know
Bowser
he's
is
meant to be
sometimes
Bowser?
referred to as King Koopa because he's king of the Koopas. This
So
is
this is just
technically
a
what a
Koopa.
Koopa Trooper looks like.
Oh.
Yeah, some of the main typical enemies of the Mario Brothers games.
And we do meet Koopa Troopers in the movie, right? Those big guys with little alien, like, lizard heads?
Well, technically, they refer to those as Goombas, which are a
Goombas, that's
different thing in Mario that look like
But
this.
they don't look anything like
That's a
them.
little like rogue
It's a
mushroom.
mushroom.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But those guys don't look like mushrooms.
Yeah, they
I'm
look
so
more like
confused.
Koopas who are not dinosaurs, they are turtles.
Look, this isn't your fault, but by asking lots of questions, I'm more confused than I was when I started.
Yes.
Because it makes less sense than I anticipated.
Do you see why maybe I was trying to head off this discussion? Because we still got to talk about the movie.
I don't get it. Why are the Goombas? Why do they look nothing like mushrooms and they kind of look like the Koopas? But then the Koopa isn't even the King Koopa. King Koopa is Bowser. Why did they not make him look like Bowser?
Well, I mean, also, they introduced Toad as played by the guy from Jello Biafra, Mojo Nixon.
Yeah, so who's Toad in the games?
That was so stupid. I just Googled Toad and then it's just a bunch of pictures of toads. That's Toad.
Oh, okay, that's Toad. Why does Toad not look like a toad?
No. Toadstool. Mushroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like a mushroom person.
And then the Toad in this movie is a big guy that plays music.
Yeah, he's a real life musician.
Yeah.
That they got to he's a folk singer, just a human being.
Just a human being.
And then they turn him into a Goomba.
Yeah, with a harmonica.
Who is a mushroom in the game, but
In the movie,
he's
got a little
strange
lizard head.
humanoid dinosaur with a very small head.
Oh, it's so fucking weird.
And that's Toad. We haven't even gotten into like Lance Henriksen playing the Mushroom King, and it's entirely like slime mold style fungus.
Yeah, I was about to say
When
the presence of mushroom in the film is her dad being a fungus that like drops through this little hole to say hello. It's gross.
Not at all what mushrooms look like in real life, let alone in Mario.
It's weirdly phallic as well.
Weirdly phallic.
Really gooey.
So wet.
Yeah, oozy and
Most
gooey.
mushrooms are not wet.
This film is crazy.
When I was watching this with friend of the podcast, Gaden Souza, and the whole time I was getting so angry. I was like, mushrooms are not wet most of the time.
Most of the time. Maybe there is some kind of wet
You can have like slime molds and stuff that are related to fungi, but that's not
what they
that's not
suggested
Mario.
he was. Yeah.
That's not Mario.
Mario.
All right, let's get into the key details because we're not even there yet.
God, I'm actually key detailed out and you haven't begun yet. Like
This is just the preamble for Mario.
These were the questions I needed answered and I'm just so much worse off than when we started.
Now you get, I think, more why this is on the list.
If I knew Mario better, I would be more frustrated watching the film, but because I didn't, I was kind of like, well, I assume that they're not straying too far. Wrong.
Let alone like that it's fascist Blade Runner style dystopia, not Mario.
Yeah.
All right, key details.
Okay.
Like I said, this is from 1993. The directors were actually a husband and wife team, Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel.
Does that mean Annabelle is the the third or fourth female director that's been on the list so far?
I think so.
That percentage is going up.
Hell yeah.
And they say sexism is over.
But I can't believe we breezed over the perfect people to direct a Super Mario Brothers movies are people named Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel.
It's
Incredible
crazy
names. They were mostly known for doing music videos for Elvis Costello, The Talking Heads, even Rush. And they also invented Max Headroom. Who was
Headroom?
Yeah, it was like a video AI generated like host of MTV.
Okay.
It's very weird to explain. I showed it to my lovely girlfriend Brooke and Gaden after we watched it, and they were just more confused than when I just explained it.
Uh-huh.
And they also made a movie called DOA, which got good reviews. It's starring, as we said, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, and Samantha Mathis plays Daisy.
I like Samantha.
Samantha Mathis?
Yeah.
Even after watching her in this?
Not so much. She was such a 90s it girl. She really was. She
Yeah.
was River Phoenix's girlfriend. She was in How to Make an American Quilt.
Yeah,
she was in Little Women.
I think for this movie, they cloned Samantha Mathis, and this clone did not get any memories of how to act.
Well, I just assumed that she was like disassociating because the film was so terrible she didn't want to be there. That's my guess.
Often her line delivery choices are insane in some of these. We'll get to that. And then returning actors, Fisher Stevens, who plays Spike, there's Spike and Iggy, who are named after Bowser's real life, the Koopalings, his, I think, children.
Yeah.
In this, they play his cousins.
Wait, what was this guy in elsewhere?
He was in LOL and Movie 43.
Oh, okay. All right.
I also know him for doing brown face in Short Circuit, which was so devastating to realize growing up. I thought that was a real Indian guy.
God, just throwback to recording Movie 43 was just so intense.
Yeah.
It was like the dead of summer. It was like 38 degrees in the room we were in.
We're dying.
The blinds were down, so it was dark. We were doing it by lamplight in the middle of the day.
Also, the realization in the moment that an anthology sort of breaks our podcast setup system.
Yeah, and it honestly, like, we were like speeding through the end of it, being like, we have to finish.
And Dan Castellaneta at the beginning voices like the dinosaurs and stuff.
No way.
And he was also in Superhero Movie and Fantastic Four. So two different people who are now in their third movies. Oh, and Frank Welker obviously voices some of like the creatures and stuff. He also did some voices in The Next Karate Kid.
Okay.
Whenever you hear like an animal in a movie, there's a solid chance that it's Frank Welker.
Nice. Claim to fame.
Incredible voice actor.
Well, I have no respect, as we've established.
Yeah.
For him or anyone of his craft.
The budget for this was just given as between 42 to 48 million.
Okay.
And it made 38.9.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty big bomb.
Oh.
Pretty big bomb. But here's the overview.
Okay.
In 1973, a woman leaves a large egg at a Catholic orphanage and is killed by a mysterious man while attempting to leave.
We've all been there, babe.
The egg hatches containing an infant girl. So explaining the setup of this movie is insane. This actually skims over the like prelogue, but that's because I'll have to get to it. 20 years later, two plumbers, Mario and Luigi, are being run out of the plumbing business in Brooklyn by the corrupt Scapellis. After Luigi falls for local NYU paleoarchaeologist student Daisy, the brothers try to help Daisy repair her dig site after it has been sabotaged by Scapelli. However, Daisy is kidnapped and taken through an interdimensional portal through which Mario and Luigi follow. The portal takes them to Dino-Hatton, an alternate universe New York where all dinosaurs are transported to after the meteorite that would have killed them struck the Earth 65 million years ago, where they have all since evolved into beings identical to humans, but dinosaurs.
Okay, hang on. Just before you keep going.
That's the first scene of the movie, and then it goes to 1973.
Yeah, thank you for explaining it.
Hey,
because I didn't get it.
I need you to know that prologue was not initially in the movie.
Oh,
they just
really?
wanted people to get it. And they had to add it after people were like, what the fuck is going on?
Even with the prologue, I didn't quite get it, to be honest.
The prologue is the most insane thing. It's like, a long time ago.
I couldn't focus on the words.
Yeah,
and then there's focus on the voice.
There's a weird thing. It was like, all the dinosaurs were on the Earth. And there's boink, boink, hey, I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's way too much.
It's the whole film's such a sensory overload. I need this overview so bad.
That's why I like it. It's just stimming. Going back, Daisy is taken to the city's ruler, King Koopa, who reveals that she is the long-lost princess of the dimension and daughter of the Mushroom King, who has been turned into fungus strewn across the city by Koopa's newly invented devolution ray. The necklace Daisy wears is additionally revealed to be a fragment of the meteorite with which Koopa plans to reunite the pieces to remerge the dimensions. Never explained why that works. Meanwhile, this is like 20 minutes in. Meanwhile, Mario and Luigi are arrested along with the musician Toad, who was later de-evolved into a Goomba, a dinosaur-like creature, but break out after learning of Koopa's plan. Once outside the city, they form a plan and break back into Koopa's tower, finding Daisy, Mario's girlfriend Daniela, and other women from Brooklyn, breaking them out. Mario and Koopa then battle in the streets of Dino-Hatton while Luigi and Daisy attempt to stop Koopa's wife?
Fiona Shaw's character.
Who I think was his wife or mistress.
Maybe mistress.
From remerging the meteor. They fail, but manage to re-separate the pieces, after which Mario manages to fire Koopa's own devolution gun on him, transforming him into a pile of goo, which unrelatedly restores the Mushroom King back to his original form. As also a human being, but a mushroom. Which I guess implies that Daisy's not a dinosaur, she's a mushroom. Mario and Luigi head back... By the way, the only two types of living creatures in this world are dinosaurs and mushrooms. There's literally never anything else.
And plumbers.
Well, only because Mario and Luigi are there.
Yeah, true.
Mario and Luigi head back to Brooklyn, but are later called upon once more by Daisy. So I had to skim over a lot, but that's because this movie is mostly nonsense.
No, I was about to say, like, I think when I watched it, I was like, Michelle's going to have a hard time with this overview because I feel like there's just so much shit.
How do you explain this movie?
You did a good job because it clarified a few things for me.
I mean, there's so many things that don't make any sense. Like we said about like the mushrooms and the dinosaurs being, they evolve back into just human beings, but dinosaurs, completely identical. This world seems to be just one city, which I think is funny because later we see that King Koopa has like one of those like really big globes you can get that spin around. But it's really funny because the entire world is apparently desert except for the one city. So he spins it. I'm like, why'd you get a globe that big if it's nothing?
If it's just desert.
You just need the one city. It doesn't matter.
Wait, so can I assume in that case that the people that wrote this film just kind of looked at the characters in Mario and went, there's a couple of them that look like dinosaurs. So how do we manufacture a dinosaur element into this film? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I mean, like Yoshi is a dinosaur.
And Yoshi was just a dinosaur.
He was just a full-on
dinosaur.
Like mini velociraptor.
He was actually so cute.
He was kind of cute.
A cutie.
And kind of an impressive effect.
Yeah, it was a good dinosaur.
The thing that I think is wild about this movie is like what they're doing doesn't have unimpressive parts to it.
Yeah.
It's just not Mario, and even not including that is fucking batshit nonsense.
There's really fun effects and techniques that they use in this film. Doesn't patch up the fuck is going on.
They really do make this bizarre Blade Runner for kids, but dinosaurs world.
And wait, so Yoshi is just like a little dinosaur, right? That's how he looks in the games.
Yeah. Do you want to see what he looks like? Yeah. He's cute. Yoshi's, I mean, he's far cuter than this. He doesn't look as much like a full-on... He looks like this.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
His whole thing is that he swallows things.
Yeah. He's like a knockoff Croc.
Someone
would say that Croc is a knockoff Yoshi, but
they would be wrong.
I see it the other way.
In Super Mario 2, Yoshi's Island, you actually mostly play as Yoshi as he's transporting baby Mario. It's a prequel. He's like Mario's protector.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's cute.
It's really cool. Yoshi's a cool guy. He's a good dude.
Another question that I have is why couldn't they just set a film in the Mario universe? Why did they have to just make it our universe and then there's a portal that takes you into the Mario universe, which isn't really the Mario universe? Like why? It wasn't even like, was Dino Hatton ever a place in the Mario world?
No!
So why didn't they just make it the Mushroom Kingdom?
Listen, I think part of this, I was discussing this with a friend the other day because it seems like they're doing a not quite similar, but like in the new Mario Bros, the trailer gives the impression that he's also from Earth and then is like transported into the Mushroom Kingdom. There's a really, really common thing, especially with video game adaptations, but also somewhat like every time you do like live action adaptation, especially, is to turn it into an isekai, which is like that genre of story, like portal fantasy, where like you get transported into a surreal world and stuff. Or a reverse isekai, like Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, is Sonic is in the real world, right? And I think that's meant to be because they're like, well, geez, regular people don't understand these crazy video games. Yeah, we got to have a real person go there.
But then you would make it a woman that lives in New York gets transported into the world of Mario and meets Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, probably.
Not Mario living in the real world and being transported to Dino Hatton, which isn't even in the games.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the Mushroom Kingdom. It's just also the Mushroom Kingdom's one city that's called Dino Hatton.
That doesn't exist in the game.
No.
And completely changes the tone of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
And the tone of the games.
Resource-based dystopia where plumbers are illegal. And people aren't allowed to speak out against Koopa at all.
I just feel like my brow hurts from how much I furrowed it during the beginning of this fucking episode.
Also, like, he has a de-evolution ray, which is an insane thing, and he uses it to turn people back into dinosaurs. We see later he actually can set it, in reverse. A classic kid thing is that you can set whatever device you have in reverse.
It ensures a happy ending.
To evolve Iggy and Spike in the hopes to make them smarter Also, not necessarily how evolution happens.
No, that bit was fun. You know, it was a little bit fun when they came out and they were like, "Oh my, how peculiar!"
It's fun and it's a kids movie thing. It's just, for me, it breaks it a little because he has a device that can like make anyone like super smart and everything. Why isn't he using that more?
And also, why were they so afraid of going into that device?
Well, they thought it was going to de-evolve them.
Right, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, when did you first see this film? How old were you?
I think when I was 15.
And what was your first impression?
This sucks, and it's also the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. You know, because I'm not gonna lie, Michelle. Like I'm confused, but boy, did I love watching it.
Oh yeah,
and watch it again in the way that you've watched it multiple times.
It's kind of a cult classic in a lot of ways.
It's fun. It's so bad that it is good.
But they're doing rad things. There's this one shot which I wrote down as like clearly inspired from Contact, which itself is inspired by the never made June by Alejandro Jodorowsky, because it's literally like they go out into like the Mad Max desert, and then it starts out over the entire city, and then it just like tracks in, like swoops in like through some of the destroyed cities towards Cooper's tower. And then like to him standing in the window. And I have a piece of production history about it. That shot was done by one man over a period of 6 months and was deemed impossible beforehand.
That's amazing.
It's genuinely impressive filmmaking.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's really fucking cool.
I feel like they didn't like spare any expense with this film. It's just that it was still plot-wise just nonsense.
I have a little bit of production history that might explain some of it.
Ooh, okay.
Rocky Morton reflected on the movie in 2016 as a harrowing experience. He explained that he and Annabelle Jankel, along with the rest of the cast, agreed to make the movie based on the script originally written by Dick Clement and Ian LaFrennay, which focused on Mario and Luigi's complicated but loving family dynamic that they had developed in the absence of their parents. However, just a few weeks before shooting was to begin, the studio financing the film demanded significant rewrites to make the film more childlike and comedic. The final result, according to Morton, was a script that was not at all like the script that he, Jankel, and the cast had signed on to film, and that the tone of the new script was not at all compatible with the sets, which had already been built. Morton reflected that he felt very uneasy being put in the position of having to defend the new script, which is a real recurring thing, is that, and I've got it, like, the cast and crew disliked Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel for their allegedly obnoxious and controlling behaviors, their regular rewrites of the script, and for making major changes to the film without telling each other or members of the production. It's such a recurring thing that, like, it sounds like they were being genuinely obnoxious and controlling, but also that they were getting fully blamed by the cast and crew for all of the studio interference and rewrites.
Yeah, when they had people breathing down their necks being like, change it, make it different.
Which would have in turn made them so stressed out.
Yeah.
And probably contributed to them being obnoxious and controlling.
Yeah.
Apparently, the film crew would regularly refer to them by insulting nicknames and even had T-shirts made that displayed rude comments made by the directors. Bob Hoskins referred to them as the cunt and the cow.
Oh.
Reportedly, at one point, Dennis Hopper was so fed up with the drawn-out and constantly changing production that he spent almost 3 hours yelling at the directors, holding up the filming of a scene in Cooper's bedroom.
Holy shit.
Morton, however, described working with Dennis Hopper as really, really hard. I don't think Dennis Hopper had a clue what was going on. And
to be fair, I've heard a lot of shit things about Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
I've heard that he's really difficult to work with.
And you can see it in his performance. He has no clue what's going on in 100%. Any scene. He's sort of like ambling around doing whatever the hell he wants.
I feel like I would trust what Bob Hoskins said and what John... what's his surname again? Leguizamo would say, but I just don't trust Dennis Hopper. I wouldn't trust him further than I could throw him. And I'm very strong.
Yeah.
I started going to the gym, so I'm very strong.
Wow.
Thanks.
I believe you. I believe you. I mean, I love what Leguizamo was doing. It was also an insane performance, but in the complete different direction, just completely leaning into the character. There's one point where they get to an elevator shaft. They're like trying to escape from the tower. They get to an elevator shaft, and he, without missing a beat, like there's no way to get through it. And he, without missing a beat, is like, okay, I guess we gotta jump over it and stuff. And Mario is going like, what are you talking about? What are you gonna? And he's like, hey, you just gotta believe. I gotta do it. And he just like runs and leaps. It's an insane thing to say.
Also, he as an actor, I found him really odd as Luigi because he and Bob Hoskins don't look anything alike. They don't have even a similar vibe to them.
No, not even close.
And even though Bob Hoskins put on a quite believable American accent, he still comes off as this like loose Cockney nut job in a way, and like, they're just very different vibes, right? But also when he's flirting with Daisy,
is Bob Hoskins not American?
He's English.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, I really mostly know him from this and Roger Rabbit.
I know him from Hook, and he was Pink Floyd's music manager, dude.
What?
So okay, this is crazy. The story of Bob Hoskins becoming an actor. He managed Pink Floyd in their early years as a band, and he was with them when they were auditioning for something unrelated. He was in a waiting room waiting for the band to do something else, and an agent doing auditions for a movie came out and just saw him and was like, do you want to come audition for this thing? Like, we need more people in. He came in and auditioned, and they were like, you're great, you've got the part. And so just out of an accident, by being their manager, he became an actor.
That's insane.
He's a Cockney nut job.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And he plays Smee in Hook, and he's like got a thick Cockney accent. It's great.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah, he's a British guy.
I love that.
What I was going to say is that Luigi and Daisy, like, I just don't believe the romance, because I think... Okay, when they first meet, Luigi is wearing a backwards, like, baseball cap. He's got his, like, shitty little sportswear on. He's wearing bling.
Yeah.
He looks like, he doesn't look like Daisy's type to me.
No, he doesn't.
I feel like if I met him in the street and he was like, do you want to go get dinner? I'd be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you at all.
Yeah, they don't seem like each other's type at all.
I don't think they have a lot of... I was like, where are you finding the common ground in this romance?
But she is also a freshly born mushroom person, because... They go on a date
she's
later.
Got the street smarts of a 20-year-old from New York.
But this is what I mean about like the insane acting choices. Because when they go to dinner early in the movie on like a double date, which is a crazy first date to do.
It is. Really risky.
But they go on a double date, and like Daniela is suggesting like, oh yeah, come to the beauty salon. You can get a tan. You'll probably have to take your necklace off. And then she goes, oh, I never take it off. Presenting it as like this weird like pathological thing, and
Does
they're
she
like,
not want to?
What? And
how
she's
does she shower with it? I'd be worried it would get damaged in the shower.
She would just probably showers with it on, and she's like, I'm just, it's the only thing I have since of my mother. And they're like, what? She's,
I was abandoned. I love that line. That line is so
dropping
good.
It so chill.
It wasn't even like, oh yeah, I'm an orphan.
Yeah.
It's not even like, oh yeah, I grew up in a Catholic school. I don't know my parents. She goes, oh, I was abandoned.
Yeah, no, but she's delivering it like you would say, like, oh, I lived in France for a year. Or,
I was abandoned.
Yeah, I bought my car from this guy. Oh, I was abandoned.
It's like, oh, you too? I don't know my parents either.
You don't know your mother or father neither? Come on.
Mario's been my mother.
He's been my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle. He's been the whole thing.
Bob Hoskins really did give 0% to this performance, I must say.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of like grumbled and glared a lot in his performance as Mario.
I will say one last thing I want to touch on before we pivot. One of the things that I hate in the movie is they introduced it at the beginning. I think it was from like 30 minutes that was cut out of what is now known as the Morton Jankel cut, which I didn't get time to watch, but I have.
Of course you do.
The whole recurring thing of he needs to believe, it doesn't mean anything because they never explain what.
Yeah.
I think it's meant to be that he's cynical and should be more optimistic.
Yeah.
But it's literally like at the beginning, it's just like, hey, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. And then Luigi's like, hey, come on, Mario, you just got to believe.
I like this chick. Just believe.
Yeah. And then in the later car, he's like, yeah, I believe. But there's so many New York jokes in this. Like, I believe we'll never be able to make it through New York at this time of day. Going through Brooklyn, like later, he's like, hey, Luigi, don't be so surprised. There were Dodgers here too. So many New York jokes. And then at the end, the movie literally ends on them being like, oh, yeah, let's do it. I believe. And he's like, you believe, Mario? And he's like, huh, oh, I believe. Believe what?
What do you believe
What
in?
are you talking about?
It's like, it sounds like the same wishy-washy shit that was in the Polar Express.
Oh,
like,
my
that
God.
was about believing in Santa. But they really threw the word believe out nonstop. Young boy,
especially
because
it's
believe.
Well, it's introduced at the beginning when he has to drive to the plumber, the plumbing job before the Scapellis get there, because in this world, plumbing jobs are, because we hear Luigi goes on the phone at one point where there's a guy being like, hey, I'm from Morton's Furniture, we just need a plumber here. Oh my God, there's water everywhere, send everyone you got. So it seems like there's just like a phone line with calls sent out, because he's on a public phone.
To plumbers everywhere.
Yeah. And then they all have to race there.
It's crazy.
Insane system.
Crazy.
I love that, though. Oh, by the way, we didn't even discuss, because that reminds me of the bit towards the ending where the worlds do partially merge. And then two things happen that I think are really fucked up. One is that Cooper uses the de-evolution gun on Scapelli to turn him into an ape, and everybody laughs.
Yeah.
They watched a man turn into a monkey and they're laughing. That's fucked up, man. That's really fucked up. Also, in 1993, we fully see the only thing in the city change be the two towers turn into destroyed versions of themselves.
What?
Yeah.
Aged terribly.
Terribly.
Wow.
Terribly. It's crazy. Do you want to hear some trivia?
Fuck yeah.
I have a bunch of trivia for this. Sifting through the trivia for this was enormously difficult because of both the fact that this movie being incredibly famous has a lot of entries, but also being a bit of a meme has a lot of like false entries and obvious fake things. Yeah. There was, no joke, 20 entries in a row that were about various women allegedly being considered for the role of Daisy, which they definitely weren't.
Right. And also it's so uninteresting. They didn't play them. I don't care.
Also, consolidate. Put that in one thing.
Yeah.
Shigeru Miyamoto, Mario's creator, stated, in the end, it was a very fun project that they put a lot of effort into, but also said, the one thing that I still have some regrets about is that the movie may have tried to get a little too close to what the Mario Bros. Video games were, and in that sense, it became a movie that was about a video game, rather than being an entertaining movie in and of itself.
What? I don't think it was close at all.
Miyamoto said the movie tried to get too close to Mario Bros.
And yet they missed by such a long shot.
I think this is that classic like Japanese politeness. Like, I will not besmirch this movie. I think it tried too hard is the problem.
Oh, true.
The set for Dino Hatton was built in an abandoned cement factory called the Ideal Cement Factory in the woods outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. Set designs were adapted to the existing structure of the building. The factory was also used as the Shredder and the Foot Clan's hideout in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Top Dollar's nightclub in The Crow.
Cool.
Well, yeah, which I think is pretty cool. Also, an interesting thing, you know how I said this movie is very Blade Runner-esque?
Yeah.
The production designer on this was the art director on Blade Runner.
No way.
Yeah. In addition to breaking his finger, one thing I didn't mention before is that there were like real aggressive things at one point. And I think it was like during a scene between Mario and Luigi, Bob Hoskins got his finger like caught on something and broke his finger.
Oh, shit.
In addition to breaking his finger, Bob Hoskins recalled that he was stabbed 4 times, electrocuted, and nearly drowned. And in quotes, and that's just what happened to me.
Oh my God. What, he got stabbed 4 times?
Yeah.
When was there the presence of a knife in this film?
Maybe it was just by some of the set and stuff. You know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like this was not a safe set to work on. This is one of my favorite things. Tom Hanks was considered for the role of Luigi, but the failures of Turner and Hooch and Joe versus the Volcano led the studio to believe that Hanks was no longer a box office draw.
What?
Which to me is hilarious because they were like, oh man, we can't put Hanks in. He's not a box office draw. So instead, we'll get John Leguizamo.
I guess the 90s was his time.
I think it was also somewhere like Danny DeVito was up for the role of Mario.
So it's so funny knowing that Forrest Gump was going to come out a year later and just like smash through the box office.
The idea though of this movie, but it's DeVito and Tom Hanks is so funny.
I also think he did this year, that year he did Castaway. Like he was on a roll.
The producers didn't make good decisions. According to John Leguizamo, in his autobiography, Rocky Morton once poured hot coffee on an extra's head because he didn't like the extra's costume.
Is Rocky Morton the director?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
That's what I mean about like the abusive and controlling behavior.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Hot coffee?
Yeah.
That's physical abuse. That is horrible.
It can cause really bad burns.
Oh my God.
Yeah. For unknown reasons, the entire ending of the movie has been cut for the Italian release. I think we might now know part of why. In this version, the film ends with the Goombas dancing in queue outside the devolution machine, waiting to return normal. Even the end credits were altered with the inclusion of scenes from the whole movie and with Roxette's song Almost Unreal replaced with Speed of Light by Joe Satriani, which is also part of the soundtrack of the film.
Nice.
According to the post-production supervisor, this had the most ADR looping of any film she had ever encountered. And you can tell this movie is ADR to hell.
Yeah.
Also, at one point, Rocky Morton said that he was locked out of the edit room, and in part because he wanted to get the editor to cut digitally, which would have been like really early days for digital, but they refused. And he said they wanted to edit on Moviola and Steinbeck machines. Steinbecks, I understand. That were popular. Moviolas hadn't been used since like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That would be fucking insane.
Yeah.
And here's the last one that I included almost as like a weirdly written piece of trivia because I think this is really funny. At one point, the producers considered casting a female as Cooper. A female.
Female,
you
Cooper.
say. A member of the opposite sex.
The female race.
The fairer sex indeed.
Ooh.
Do you want to hear some reviews?
Yes.
Reviews! This movie has 28% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right.
We're still in the 4.1s on IMDb.
We'll never get out.
Janet Maslin of the New York Times said, it doesn't have the jaunty hop and zap spirit of the Nintendo video game from which it takes its inspiration. Don't know why the was included. I also have another review. This one is from friend of the podcast, Gaten Souza's dad.
What? What?
Who texted him while we were watching it. I liked the casting of Dennis Hopper, the ultimate drug fiend, as the evolved lizard, and I liked the really stupid, small-headed lizards that were easily controlled by hypnotic moving. Great, crazy film. Also, the idea that lizards have been co-evolving under New York was great. Who wrote that shit?
Oh, I love it. We love you, Gaten's dad. Gaten's parents, honorary hosts of Rating Descending.
Honorary
now.
host, Pedro Souza.
Yes.
And here's an IMDb review called... Oh, also, finding reviews for this was so hard because tons of just ironic reviews.
Yeah.
I tried really hard to find some sincere ones. You gotta look closer. This one is called by Arfs.
Arfs?
I guess maybe it's Orfs?
Orfs?
What's ARFS?
Yeah.
You know, like an arf, but plural. If you slaughter this... If you slaughter this movie and call it yet another commercial mistake, etc., you just haven't watched this movie close enough. I've watched it like 100 times and it's just awesome. There are so many details such as parodies and irony in this movie. The society is like a parody of the American society, and you find these details that just blow you away. Take, for example, the Bob If you watch very closely, when it stops under Cooper, you can see it says, under the Bob feet, Reebok, and there's a little British flag. Also, the Vote for Cooper campaign and the old woman with the gun, take anything. It's just wild. It's so weird and stupid and funny. The same time, it's just great. Another thing is the great actors, minus the Daisy woman.
Jesus.
She's no fun at all.
What the fuck?
And the well-written script. Everything is connected. Come on, guys. This is cult. A weird kind of cult. You don't believe it the first time you see it, but later on, this is just great fun. This was supposed to be a kid's movie, but this is adult fun. Believe me. And Leguizamo has the sexiest accent ever.
Does
10 out of 10. Hey, come on. It's me, John Leguizamo. You know, I'm from New York. I'm Luigi
Wanna
Mario.
go for dinner?
Want to go for dinner? Come on, my accent is so sexy. Come on, it's me, John Leguizamo. Hey, babe, you want to go down later? No, it'll be cool. Come on, I'll eat you out for a little bit. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
No, it'll be so good.
Stop it.
This one's titled Good Movie, full stop, by Snuffles1588. I love this movie. It can be a little cheesy at times, but that's okay by me. It's funny and follows the game as closely as a movie can.
Fallows.
A lot of items and events, i.e. sounds or whatever, from the game show up and the storyline makes sense as though there could be a game that uses it from the Mario Bros. Series. Oh, Christ.
Oh.
The brothers themselves are well played and fit perfectly as you would think they would be. All in all, it's a good movie, so ignore all the naysayers who try comparing it to the video game or whatever, and put it down! It's definitely worth watching if you like comedy and Super Mario. And for those people that say it is a shame to a game that saved Nintendo, you really should get your facts in order. After Super Mario was released for the Nintendo Classic, they were bankrupt. Mario was a good game, but the system itself was missing a lot in all its other games, and Mario did nothing to help. If you look into the history of Nintendo, Final Fantasy, which was going to be their last game, hint the name. Their Final Fantasy saved the system and company, not Mario. Also, that's not true. That's true of Squaresoft, the company that made Final Fantasy, not Nintendo. It's their face now. Sorry, it's there as in like over there. It's their face now, but it's just another game which happens to have a pretty good movie based off it. Bye-bye all. But hey, that's just what people on IMDb thought. What was your review?
Man, I mean, I've seen this film before, and I really, I've enjoyed it. Like, it's the kind of film that I would watch again and again as a bad movie. But it still feels wrong to give it over 5, but I want to.
Because it's not good, is the thing.
It's not, but I do like it.
Yeah, I know
like,
you mean.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah,
like, we're probably going to watch it again at some point. You know?
Most likely.
We get a lot out of it because it's so stupid. And it was ambitious and silly. And, like, from the movies that we've had on this list, this is exactly the kind of movie that we did this podcast for.
Yeah.
It's not some shitty post-2010s horror film.
Yeah.
It is fun and engaging and silly and has a good cast. It just went horribly wrong.
It's the
and
golden
that's what
zone.
we live for. It is. It's a golden movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to fucking trash it. I had a good time. I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Yep. What about you?
Well, look, I also love this movie and I enjoy it a lot.
You've watched it a lot.
I've watched it a lot of times.
You'd sort it out.
That's more than can be said of movies that I think are objectively a lot better.
Yeah.
Clearly, it is joyful.
Yeah.
But also the attention to detail can be summed up in something I forgot to talk about earlier, which is the bit after they get evolved. And he comes out and he's like, what's the square root of 2,193? Huh? What? 191. That's the wrong answer to that question.
Okay.
It's an easy thing to have just done the math beforehand. That's just not the right answer. So obviously there's some flaws with this movie, right?
Just a few.
I think it depends. This is another one of those ones where I'm like, I think for regular people, it is a 4 out of 10. But I think for little gremlin people, if you want something that is like really wild and trying so hard to be something
For
and then
people
completely...
that have done this podcast for 2.5 years.
I think it's like an 8 or 9 for that.
Whoa!
Like, this is the pinnacle. There's a reason we still talk about it. There's other bad movies from the 90s.
What are you rating it then, bitch?
I don't know.
Give it a score. Don't be shy.
This movie is important to me.
This
I
is
would
a place
be sad
without judgment.
if we lost this movie. If we lost any movie, I'd be sad because art shouldn't be mind-hold, cough, cough, Netflix.
Oh, there's a couple of films that I would like to not
Warner Brothers
exist.
Okay, yeah, I guess there's ones that have caused like material harm and stuff, like Birth of a Nation or Triumph of the Will and shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, all right.
Hey, that was all before racism was bad. Give them a break. They didn't know.
Sorry, that was so weird. We just cut out there for a bit. I think I'm genuinely gonna give this a 6.
Whoa, not bad.
I think because I get a lot
for a
of...
second you were going to give it an 8.
No, I can't do that morally. I can't do it. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah.
But I think I get a lot out of this movie.
Yeah.
And there's cool things in it. It's just, it sucks and it's not good. But it's like...
But it's fun.
I had
but
a
it's
really
not.
fun time.
But it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, it's like if you go to like a theme park and you go on a ride that kind of sucks, but like you and your friends all like love it. So you go on it again and you're like, well, I got my money's worth.
It's not like the kind of film that you're going to put on by yourself when you've got a day off, but it is the kind of film that if all your friends are pissed, you're like, what should we watch?
Yeah.
You'd probably put it on.
It's like when you want to order a pizza and you're like, I could get nice pizza or I could get Domino's and it kind of sucks and I feel bad, but like...
But in the moment, it's fun.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that.
All right. 6
it's
out
a
of
6.
10. Fuck, bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch.
I would watch this before I'd watch a Goodyear.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I always try and think.
But if you want to hear us think more things than just that.
Because sometimes we can.
Yeah, sometimes we can. Well, you can follow us and you can listen to our other episodes and follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod or TikTok at Rating Descending, or like Vira, legendary Vira, you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com.
Or you can find us on our personal accounts. I'm on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
Or you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michelle.St.Clair.
And don't forget to drop us a review wherever you get your podcasts.
Nice.
It really makes a difference.
Well, hey, Abby, that was Super Mario Bros, but what are we watching next week?
Michelle, next week I'm happy to announce we will be watching RoboCop 3.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, and as I told you, I haven't seen RoboCop 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know of it. I know what it's about. I've seen clips of it, but I've never really sat down to watch the whole thing.
He's a cop. He's a robot.
I kind of get the shtick. I'm not going to lie. And I'm sure it's really good. I just haven't had the time.
I mean, the shtick that a lot of people miss when they're kids is that it's satirical. You're not meant to be like, "Whoa, it's so cool."
Yeah.
It's like kind of horrifying that he's a fucking robot. It's a rad movie.
Ooh, well, join us next week.
Yeah, I'm sure the third one will hold up.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, no, I think it'll hold up.
I think it'll be just as good as the first.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Famously.
yeah.